Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon for this character sheet and a bunch more, and like and subscribe for a silver spoon next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Weiss Schnee, a girl with a demeanor almost as cold as her magic. This also means that we're finishing another team. It's Team RWBY, the Castlevania trio, and I guess the Mario brothers? I think a duo shouldn't really count though. Just wait until 2042 when I finish the Smash roster. Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, I believe it was the Swedish philosopher Knack who said ice is nice, so we'll get some ice, even if we're a little mean. Next, Weiss is a gated community gal, so we need some fencing skills. Get it? Because fencing is a rich kid's sport. Finally, we need to summon a giant ice monster. You're probably used to having someone else do your work for you. But if you want to be as well read as Weiss, why not get something to do your reading for you? Today's video is sponsored by Audible, the best in the business when it comes to audiobooks, but I'm guessing you already knew that. You're pretty smart. Did you know that Audible members also have access to the Plus catalog, a collection of thousands of titles for free? And in addition to those thousands of audiobooks, there's fitness, meditation, and sleep tracks for healthier living. Personally, I'm listening to A Grown-Up Guide to Dinosaurs, narrated by Professor Ben Garrett, because dinosaurs are pretty great. And 2020 is pretty stressful, so it's nice to imagine living in a time with dinosaurs instead. Audible users also get 1 free credit a month to pick a book for free from Audible's huge selection. This month I chose The Bad Beginning, the first book in a series of unfortunate events, narrated by Tim Curry, to get a little nostalgia on. Now is the best time to sign up for Audible since they have a special holiday offer. Sign up now and you'll pay less than $5 a month for the first 6 months, giving you access to Audible Plus's library of thousands of titles. Sign up with the link in the description or text 2LOCK to 500-500 to get started today. Now, back to the video. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just make sure you've got a big brain and sharp footwork. Dexterity will be number 1. Stabbing people requires great reaction time. Intelligence next, you're the top of the class, obviously because of a natural aptitude, and not from a decade of private tutoring and individual attention. I was lying, it's definitely the last one. Charisma after that, you can be a bit haughty, but you're still very eloquent. Follow that up with Constitution, that's the ice resistance stat, and you're pretty used to being in colder areas. Wisdom is a bit low, you're a bit too spoiled to pay attention to other people's needs, and will dump Strength. Yang's got that covered, you can just hire someone to carry stuff for you. Weiss is a human, but might need to be an elf if your DM is a stickler. If that is the case, High Elf is the move, but humans get a feat. The Elemental Adept feat lets you ignore resistances of a damage type. Cold is the obvious move, and you can treat your 1s on the damage die as 2s, making your cold shoulder a little bit colder. Bump your Dexterity and your Charisma with your 2 free points. Take Acrobatics for your skill of choice, and the Noble background for History and Persuasion. It's the most prestigious of backgrounds. Only the best characters can have it. You probably don't even have it in your player's handbook. We'll kick things off as a wizard to grab 2 skills from the wizard list. Arcana and Investigation will help you with your studies. Obviously, you also get spells and cantrips. Ray of Frost is a ranged spell attack that deals 1d8 cold damage and lowers the target's movement speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn, hitting them with the cold feat. But not the Frostbitten feat, because for that, you would use the Frostbite cantrip, which forces a Constitution saving throw on a creature. Failing that, they take 1d6 cold damage and have disadvantage on their next weapon attack. It's pretty darn similar to Vicious Mockery, which makes sense. You've said some pretty chilling things to your friends and foes alike. The message spell lets you whisper a message to someone 120 feet away, and they can whisper back to you for better team communication, helping you pull off combos more often. You can have 6 spells in your spellbook at first level, even if we can only prepare an amount per day equal to your intelligence modifier plus your wizard level. We're going to grab all 6 for now, but we'll only be grabbing 1 spell per level after this. That's just to make sure that the video doesn't get super long. For first level spells, grab Ice Knife to yeet a ranged spell attack that deals 1d10 piercing damage and forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures within 5 feet of that area, dealing 2d6 cold damage to those that fail for some big ice combos. Tensor's Floating Disc summons a floating platform that can hold up to 500 pounds and hovers 3 feet off the ground within 20 feet of you, following you around as well, giving you something to jump off of. To jump off of it better, the jump spell triples your jump distance for a minute, or the jump distance of one of your allies if you want to slingshot RWBY into a mountain, for tactical reasons, not like to killer. Shield adds 5 to your AC as a reaction, which will make you harder to hit with a little hard light barrier. Mage armor makes your AC 13 plus your dexterity modifier when you're not wearing armor for 8 hours, and it's basically the best light armor you can get, so your fancy footwork can keep you safe in a fancy gown. Burning Hands forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 15-foot cone in front of you. Failing that, they take 3d6 fire damage for a little red dust blast. Second level wizards can choose an arcane tradition, and Blade Singer from the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide is a great way to get the most out of the sword and some spells. In the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, it says that you have to be an elf to be a Blade Singer, but then it also says that your DM can let you do it with any race. That makes it like any other subclass in the game, because you can do it as an elf or as literally anything else. First, you get training in War and Song, giving you proficiency with a one-handed melee weapon, like a rapier, and the performance skill so you can dance macabre. The big perk is a Blade Song, which lets you add your intelligence modifier to your AC, increase your movement speed by 10 feet, give yourself advantage on acrobatics checks, and you can add your intelligence modifier to your concentration saving throws. By the end of this build, this is going to be crazy good, but even right now, it's really very good. You can use this twice per short rest. For this level spell, Magic Missile lets you shoot some hard light that deals 1d4 plus 1 force damage 3 times, either to one target or to multiple, and these darts automatically hit. If you have to fight another Blade Singer, this might be a good option. They tend to be a little bit hard to hit. Third level wizards can learn second level spells. Spider Climb will let a creature run up walls and on ceilings without falling for up to an hour depending on your concentration, though RWBY probably only needs about 4 seconds to chop that bird's head off. Fourth level wizards get an ability score improvement. Get your intelligence modifier up to make your spells just as sharp as your swords. Speaking of spells and swords, Magic Weapon adds 1 to the attack and damage rolls of a weapon for an hour and makes it magical in terms of overcoming resistances. Obviously, you're only using the most high quality weapons. Fifth level wizards can learn third level spells. Haste pairs very well with Blade Singer, giving a creature +2 to their AC, doubled movement speed, advantage on dexterity saving throws, and an extra action to make one attack, dash, disengage, hide, or use an object. After it ends, you need to take 1 round off of reactions and actions, but if you use it for another attack, it's basically like you have an extra attack ability. And you're not even a 6th level Blade Singer, which would give you an extra attack to make 2 attacks with your action, even though the extra haste action still only gives you 1 more attack. Really quickly, I want to point out that I'm not putting Glyph of Warding on this list, even though glyphs are Weiss's semblance, mostly because that's not really how the Glyph of Warding works. It also takes an hour to cast, which isn't really how your glyphs work. They just do other stuff, like make you go faster. So Longstrider will add 10 feet to your movement speed for an hour, which will pair well with your Blade Song and Haste for a base 100 movement speed to slip and slide like a speed skater. 7th level wizards can learn 4th level spells. Ice Storm creates a 20-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder of ice that deals 2d8 bludgeoning damage and 4d6 cold damage to those that fail, then turns the area into difficult terrain until the end of your next turn. You might be great at running on ice, but everyone else isn't. 8th level wizards get another ability score improvement. More intelligence would work great for not only higher spell saves, but also better AC and concentration when you've got your Blade Song up. You really put your brain to work. For this level spell, Fire Shield can create a hot shield that protects you from the cold, but the in-character move would be a cold shield to protect you from hot. It gives you resistance to fire damage, and you'll deal 2d8 cold damage to creatures that hit you with a melee attack. A Warm Shield does the exact opposite, resistance to cold damage and fire damage when people hit you if you'd rather use some red dust. I'd just keep it cold though, since you've got that elemental adept thing. It hangs out for 10 minutes either way, no concentration required, basically just making it a flat buff. Really quickly jumping over to fighter for a fighting style. Duelist will add 2 to the damage rolls of a weapon you wield one-handed, basically making every stab a little more brutal. You also get Second Wind, letting you add 1d10 plus your fighter level as a bonus action, but I really only wanted the fighting style, so it's just going to be the 1d10 plus 1. Don't be too mad about it. Back over to wizard. 9th level wizards can learn 5th level spells. Cone of Cold creates a 60-foot cone of constitution saving throws. If a creature inside fails, they're going to take 8d8 cold damage for a huge AoE that will wipe out a whole pack of Grim in a single action. 10th level Blade Singers get Song of Defense, letting you spend spell slots as a reaction when you should take damage, reducing that damage by 5 times the level of the spell slot expanded. Try to use the shield first, obviously. 0 damage is better than damage reduction, but this is a solid option for fireballs or flying boulders, saving throw type stuff. For this level spell, Scorching Ray lets you shoot 3 rays of fire that deal 2d6 fire damage each as a ranged spell attack. You can aim them at one target or multiple, it's really up to you. 11th level wizards can learn 6th level spells. Oatluke's Freezing Sphere creates a 60-foot radius sphere of ice that forces a constitution saving throw on creatures, dealing 10d6 cold damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed, and freezing the water it hits. Even more fun, you can delay casting this spell, instead creating a bead that can be thrown 40 feet within the next minute before exploding. Give it to RWBY RWBY, have her bamf in, then bamf out after turning the room into a freezer. 12th level wizards can finally cap off our intelligence modifier for the hardest to resist cold, like Minnesota cold. For this level spell, Wall of Ice lets you do your best impression of Mei from Overwatch, creating either a 10-foot radius hemisphere of ice or a flat wall of 10 by 10 foot panels. If it cuts through a creature's space, they make a dexterity saving throw or take 10d6 cold damage, half as much on a success. Each panel has 12 AC and 30 HP. If the section is destroyed, creatures moving through that space have to make a Constitution saving throw, dealing 5d6 cold damage on a failed save, half as much on a success. You'll have to concentrate to keep it up, but honestly, locking someone in with you and your dueling ability is a solid strategy, especially by the end of the build. No spoilers, but Weiss is going to be kind of busted. 13th level wizards can learn 7th level spells. Whirlwind is another complicated one, so here we go. It creates a 10-foot radius, 30-foot high cylinder of wind that sucks up objects of medium or smaller in its path. Creatures have to make a dexterity saving throw or take 10d6 bludgeoning damage inside, and large or smaller creatures have to make a strength saving throw or they're restrained until the spell ends, taking that bludgeoning damage every round for the next minute depending on your concentration. This is the perfect Mage Slayer spell since it absolutely destroys the dummies who forgot to get a physical stat. So it's a good thing you're both brainy and quick. 14th level Blade Singers get Song of Victory, letting you add your intelligence modifier to the damage rolls of your weapon attacks while your Blade Song is up, meaning that you stab harder than just about any finesse-based fighter. And thanks to haste, you'll also have the same number of attacks per round, not to mention even higher level spells. Blade Singer's good, folks. For this level spell, Reverse Gravity lets you reverse the gravity in a 50-foot radius, 100-foot high cylinder, only letting creatures make a dexterity saving throw if the DM says that there's something they can grab onto. Otherwise, they're going up on the elevator. They're going to take falling damage when they hit the ceiling and take that falling damage again when they hit the floor after the spell ends in a minute or when your concentration goes away. With all the ice, walls, whirlwinds, and now gravity manipulation, you don't so much make difficult terrain, you make unfathomable terrain. 15th level wizards can learn 8th level spells. Incendiary Cloud forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 20-foot radius sphere, dealing 10d8 fire damage on a failure, half as much on a success. Unlike something like Fireball, this one sticks around for a minute, rolling 10 feet forward every turn for a minute or until your concentration breaks, but you get to add your intelligence modifier to those saves, so I'm guessing you won't just be the best ice girl, you'll also be the best fire girl. Single major is a bit pedestrian for a Schnee. 16th level wizards get another ability score improvement. Let's go for dexterity for now. Blade Singers are pretty mad, which is an acronym for maybe after dinner, as in maybe after dinner we'll roll up a character that only needs one ability score. For this level spell, Conjure Elemental is a 5th level spell that summons an elemental of challenge rating 5 or lower, but can conjure higher level elementals with a higher level spell slot. They hang out for an hour, and if you lose concentration, they're gonna try and murder you and the rest of Team RWBY, so maybe have your sister on speed dial. Technically, your DM is supposed to have the stats for this, but I've literally never met a DM who likes to have stats ready for conjurers. I've never even seen one in the comments, and people love to get mad at me in the comments. So have the sheet ready for the elemental you would like to summon, and your DM will probably let you do it. You can summon higher level elementals with higher level spell slots. A Frost Salamander from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes is the best ice elemental you can get, and it's technically challenge rating 9. That means that you're going to need a 9th level spell slot for it, which you'll get at the 17th level of Wizard, though you could also cast spells of 9th level like Foresight, which gives a creature advantage on all attack rolls, ability checks, saving throws, and the creatures attacking that creature have disadvantage, not to mention the fact that they can't be surprised. This all lasts for 8 hours, no concentration required, which will pair well with your incredible buffs from Blade Song, but we'll talk about that once we're capped. Weiss is just the best, don't mess with her. 18th level wizards are spell masters, letting you pick one 1st level spell and 2nd level spell to cast at will without spending spell slots. Shield basically gives you a +5 bonus to your AC permanently, and magic weapon means that you'll never have to worry about having a weak sword. Permanent weapon buffs are good, but the shield thing, well, we'll get there in a second. Our capstone is the 19th level of wizard for one last ability score improvement, letting us cap off our dexterity modifier to be as strong of a martial fighter as we are as a caster. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you are maybe the hardest thing to hit we've ever made. With Blade Song up, your base AC is 23. With haste up, it's 25. With a shield spell at will as a reaction, it's 30. Oh, and because of Foresight, they're gonna have disadvantage to hit you with your 30 AC. Too bad for them. You're also fast with 100 movement speed after the haste, and the ability to dash, then dash again with the haste action to run up to 300 feet, not to mention extra jumping abilities from the jump spell and floating disc to help you get where you need to go. Finally, you can deal damage with big AoE spells to hit groups of people, and 3 attacks per round with a plus 12 damage modifier on each hit, not to mention advantage on every attack from Foresight, so even if you run out of spells, you can just stab people. For weaknesses, wizard hit die are not your friends, meaning that you're going to end this build with a little more than 100 HP. Since you're not really using the charisma modifier, maybe power build at home and flip the charisma and constitution stats to have 20 more HP. You're also lacking strength, meaning that you could get pushed around by heavier things or just trapped under rubble. Finally, even if you're good at concentration saves, because of Blade Song, your abundance of concentration spells will make you pick and choose. But you're choosing from only the finest of things. Be elegant, be graceful, freeze your foes and then shatter them with swift strikes. Just watch out for someone with a higher strength score, like Knack. Knack build when? Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. If you join the Patreon, you'll get this character sheet and a whole bunch more. It's pretty great. And of course, sub to Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.